Hi and welcome back to the channel. And we will be continuing as the backdrop shows and the thumbnail that you clicked on and the title below this screen, so I don't know why I bother telling you this every time. We're playing Pirate Borg. Yes, thank you very much for returning. Thank you to subscribers. If you have not subscribed, please could you subscribe? I've been very grateful for the subscription. It will help bump the numbers. It helps us then surface to other places. And basically, it gives me a bit of validation for my own existence. helps my mental health issues and various other things. Thank you very much to members, and I really should script things. Let's get on with the story. So, where did we leave? We left Captain Pete and the crew. What we did was we went up to him, look at that there lighthouse, and we found bugger all. Oh, we didn't, Captain. We found this nice journal. We were able to find out about the innkeeper. No, he wasn't an innkeeper. He was a lighthouse keeper, and his daughter. And he had a big argument with her, and then he must have smashed up the light. So we discovered that sort of stuff, but beyond that, it was a bit because we didn't roll anything to anything interesting. So the lads didn't find anything additional about the governor. They did find this weird ritual thing, and I think they stole the 8 candles, if I remember rightly. They did get a gem, a purple crystal worth 150 groats, and they did find 37 groats worth of stuff in a little bag. So they've got like 180 groats out of it, but not much. So what I said at the end of last session was that they would return back to town. We would say that they would re-equip. So basically they'll return to town. They'll spend another night there. They'll re-equip, so we'll give them some food. There's no point going shopping for another flintlock, because it was only yesterday that they only could find one flintlock for Captain Pete. So we won't bother doing that again. I don't think there's anything additional to need to do. So what we'll then do is we'll say that they have gone there, done that, and that we will pick up this episode with them going through, because what we're going to do is we're going to go to Skeleton Point. If you don't remember this, you should really watch the last one. This is episode 13. I've done 30. This is the 13th of these. There's 12 others that you could go watch. I'm sure you have. But if you haven't, 12 others. Like, even if I say so myself, I'm incredibly amusing. Mainly I find myself amusing, I have been told by many people. So where we're going is we're going to go and have a look at this point here, Skeleton Point, because what we're pretty sure of, because we found Veronica's journal, her diary, a very colourful diary it was, even though she's a very very goth lass. Let's see if I can quickly find a picture of her. So that's Veronica. Veronica is the governor's daughter who's gone missing. We went to her boudoir, found her diary. So it was a very gothic type boudoir. It's a couple of episodes back. Very gothic type boudoir with lots of velvet, lots of black, very sort of like emo. But she had a nice little diary with a do not read, a little lock on, because she is still sort of late teens. But Veronica's disappeared. And there's a reward out for her. Yay! And so what we've discovered is that Veronica, based on her diary and various other things, fell in love with the Baron. And the Baron is based in Skeleton Point. And Skeleton Point, now I've got up to it, got up to speed. Skeleton Point is this fortress here. I was reading it, the backdrop of it, whilst chatting, like doing sort of parallel play. We were doing parallel play. Mandy was in the Netherlands doing some drawing, and I was here reading stuff, and we were chatting using modern technology. It's amazing, modern technology. To think when I were a lad, we had 2 yogurt pots and a bit of string, and that's how we would communicate over distance. You'd stand over there, I'd stand here, I'd talk in the yogurt, and you could hear what I was saying. The fact if I shouted at you, you could hear anyway, we never ever thought about. And so we need to travel through the jungle to get to Skeleton Point over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up the story. So we're going to think the episode we'd end the last episode with them leaving the lighthouse, basically going, do you know, Captain, I think that were a right waste of time. And the captain going, I know, but what we're going to do, we'll go back, get some stuff, get a kip, see if I can get lucky with barmaid, which I doubt it, and then we'll all return to the jungle. And so this episode, we'll pick up them entering the jungle with the captain going, do you know, she has a right tough right hook, that lass. And coming to the jungle. So what we'll do is we will do, they have the I don't know if you remember. Do you remember? They've got the compass, turn around, point. So the captain goes, I want to go to Skeleton Point. And it will point where he goes, but then he needs to make a spirit roll. So what we will say, is, I talk so fast on Pirate Borg. The other ones I slow down, but Pirate Borg just gives me this desire to spiel out everything quite quickly. So what we'll say is they've entered the jungle and it's got that dark ominous. It's still raining. Shall we do a roll for the dark Caribbean? See if anything, whilst they're back in town, whether we can do some little flashback stories of any new pieces of information that is brought to light over the course of the time. Mark my page. So what we've got so far is pirates have now got political say. The British and the Spanish are at war. We know about ash and the usefulness of ash. There's the undead are rising. And various other things. So let's see. So what we do, we roll a d6, we roll the d3, and then that money things turn up. So 2, the next 2. So we have got a black market develops around the consumption of ash. Tortuga becomes the epicenter. So we're not into Tortuga, but Tortuga is nearby. So we have heard rumours that if we can get ash and get it there, that there's people who'll pay a lot of money for it. So that's what we'd hear in the bar. So bits like that, this would be a background conversation as we see the scene, you know, like at some point there'll be a background conversation in a pub. We'd only hear it in the background, but we would make sure the sound is focused on that conversation. So as us as an audience hear it and it gets absorbed by Captain Pete and the crew. So the whole, I don't know if you remember back to the beginning, but there is a ship, what was it called? The Phantom Voyager, which was the ship that Captain Pete acquired from the current captain, who accidentally fell backwards onto a set of really sharp knives and stabbed himself silly. It was really weird. It's such a weird coincidence. He must have been like a bit rocky because of rocky seas. And then Captain Pete, yeah, I discovered him. And in his dying breath, he said, oh, bosun, because I was the bosun at the time, bosun, take the captainship of my ship, bosun. You're such a good lad. Take it and everything in it's yours. And so I did. And so what Captain Pete then, they went off, they got loads of ash. So there's a hold full of ash on the Phantom Voyager, waiting for them to go and get a ship and get there and collect it, which they've not really done much about. So there's a black market for ash. And we've also discovered, that there are some mysterious ruins have been discovered on the Yucatan. Scholars, mountain expedition, none returned alive. Oh, it's quite a while away. I'll probably throw this map up as well. So we've got Black Coral Bays here. Or maybe I'll put an arrow or circle if I've thrown a map up. Or I'll focus in it. I'll do that focus thing that I learned how to do, which looks quite cool, where I slow focus. So maybe this voiceover is here seeing a slow focus on Coral Bay. And there's Tortuga, which is the epicenter. So Tortuga's the closest to us. So if we can get the ash back to Tortuga, that would be good. The ship is somewhere around here, somewhere around this part here. That's where the ship is. That's where Port Royal is, where Port Royal has fallen, and we've had lots of refugees from Port Royal have appeared in all of these places. And then we have the Dark Yucatan is around this section here. So this is the Dark Yucatan. So this is where the ancient ruins have been found, and academics have gone on an investigation over this area here. There we go. That's what we have found out in the interim period. So again, cutting back, we've got Captain Pete and the crew. We entered the jungle and it was dark and the storms were still storming, because this was something that we did the last one of our second or thirds, which is the climate shifts, skies darken, storms rage, and a foul mist is omnipresent. So basically the weather is just atrocious all the time. And so we entered the jungle, so we did. And so what we'll do is I think we'll roll, I know we've got the rule of threes that I always go on about, but we're only going to do 2. We'll do 2 spirit rolls for Captain Pete. If he fails it, then they will have, and I'll roll on the encounter table. If he succeeds, then they will just bypass. So we spend, say, we set off in the morning, we'd spend, I don't know, that looks like to me, like at least a day's worth of travel to go through there, maybe 2 days. A day in, camp up, a day out to then get here. So we'd get here either late in a day or early in the next day. So we'll roll a 50-50 whether we get there at night or we get there at daytime, because there is a difference between Skeleton Point. And this will be another example of how you use pre-written material, where I'll do the jungle and then I'll tell you what I did. I'll do the jungle first. So first off, we've got a spirit roll. We need Captain Pete with his compass. What he needs to do, he needs to roll a spirit of 12. And at the moment, he's got a spirit of +1, so he needs to roll 11s. Otherwise, he passes out, and that's it. Can't use it for the rest of the day. Nope, he passes out. Okay, so the compass gets them lost. So they're going to have to spend an extra... Oh, we'll say what I'll say is they spend the whole of that 180. I'm going to say they've got enough food that they'll fine. We're not going to bother tracking food unless thematically or story-wise it seems to be useful. So Captain Pete passes out. The lads all have a panic. I'll roll on the encounter table. Let's see, what did the encounter? 6. Dark Flora. All right, they can have a quick fight. So what? Okay, let's set the scene. Let's set the scene, and then we'll have something happen. So what happened? So what happened was, I'll do the narration because the captain's a bit, indisposed at the moment. So what it was we were moving forwards and we were following our good captain, because our captain always knows what's best and he knows where we should be going. And he was just about to point in the right direction, but sadly he toppled over sideways. And what he toppled over into I need a D7, so we'll do a D8 re-rolling 8s. Of course, it rolls an 8. A 1. A 1 is a Sargasso entity, spawned from the mire of the seaweed that drifts in the Devil's Triangle. It be quite a tough one. It's got a whip, a D6 whip, horrific vision. One creature must test spirit or suffer visions of unnameable cosmic horrors. All their DRs are +4 for D6 rounds. Oh, if you eat the seaweed, you recover D2 hit points. Okay. So we'll say that it can get off of it, I don't know, D10's worth of seaweed. So what it is it's this. So what happened was he toppled over sideways into what looked like a patch of wet seaweed, which was quite weird, really, us being in the jungle and all. You don't see much seaweed in the jungle, but the only problem were it then enveloped the captain. Now, we didn't like that very much, and so what we did to respond to this is, because we're a very good crew and we're very loyal, we then beat the hell out of the seaweed. So let's beat the hell out of some seaweed. So first off, we will quickly knock down its stats. It has a hit points of 18, a morale of 9, so it can run away. Why does seaweed run away? Slink off. It'll slink off. It does D6 damage and it's got a range of 15 foot. So everyone is in its range. And one creature, which will be the captain. So the captain is toppled into it. He needs to make a D12, 12, so roll 11s. 18, yeah. So he resists and he doesn't get the horrific visions. One creature must test, right, done. And afterwards we've got done that. So we will topple into that. First off, as with all combats, we need to work out. Now, what happened was, now instead of what you would have thought would have happened, who's got the best? Oh, young Bates has got a +3 for agility, which is pretty good because normally you do. So Bates has got a +3. So Bates is the one who's going to react first to the code. And then, oh, I can't remember Bates' voice was then. Boudoir. I like the boudoir. I think boudoir is my word for his voice. So the captain fell into the seaweed and it was right horrible, it were. But I was right in 5, that means they go first. But I was really on the ball and I had my musket that XO had very kindly taught me how to use. And so what I did was I shot it in the face. So this would be present. I think it's presence for range combat. Double check. It is indeed. So he needs to roll a 12 on presence. It's raining and it's still, and they're in the jungle. So I'm going to make him need to roll a 14. But he's got a presence of +2, so he needs to roll 12s. 7 misses. He fires off a burst. It goes through the seaweed, which is all flappy, and takes apart. And you see like wet leaves sort of burst up into the air. As he does that, so that was his musket. Then I reckon we'll have XO. I'm now going to shoot it. No, this is my XO's voice. I then let loose my musket of pain. He's also got, needs to roll 12s. 12, because he's got a +2 and he would need 14s as well. And he doesn't get a -2 for attacking. 16 is a hit. I hit it right smack bang in the face. If it was a face. It's got, how many hit points did I say? 18, I think I said. I did, I said 18. He does 10 points. That's quite good. What we will have done though, because I've just remembered, leaving it on 8 hit points, what we will do is, because young Staines, I don't know if you remember, but as I tried to break down that door, Betty broke. And then I haven't got a hammer anymore. Now I do like my hammer, so I'm going to go and buy another hammer. So we'll see how much a hammer is, and then we'll say that as long as it's less than 40 silver, then Staines could have got a new hammer. It's D6 damage. I'll look at the D6 damage. We'll say the hammer's the same as a heavy club, which is 20 silver, so you can easily get another one. So that's Betty too. So he's got a replacement to the hammer. So I took Betty too, and I took it out of my pocket. It'd be like a big sort of like a more of a mallet, a sledgehammer type sledgehammer. Does it have a sledgehammer on this? Doubt it. Is anyone old enough to remember Sledgehammer, the TV series, which was like a cop, you know, like a cop that takes risks? Was it Sledgehammer? I think it was Sledgehammer. I think it was called Sledgehammer. That was very funny. Sorry, I digress. Yeah, so there doesn't have any form of hammer there at all, so we'll call it the same as a heavy club. D6 damage. And then I took Betty too. I write down Betty too. Betty the second. So he charges in with both hands on. Maybe he'll throw the dice first. He's going to throw the dice first, the jade die. He's going to take a risk and throw the jade die, because he never throws the jade die. So what he's got is on one of his pub crawls, he encountered a jade die. I need to roll a dice. If we get odd, which we do, he gains 6 temporary hit points, which is quite good because he's got the most hit points anyway at 13. It's a green die made of jade, where it's a D6 with die with normal pips on it, made of green jade. When he throws it, if he rolls an odd number, he gains a D8 temporary hit points. If he rolls an even number, the creature, a random creature that he's fighting against at that point, will gain plus a D8 on its next damage roll. So instead he's gained 6 temporary hit points. And then what I did was I charged forwards. Now I only need to hit a 12. I've got a -2 because I am a brote, which means that I only need to roll a 10. With 11, only just. Doing D6 damage. Doing 5 points of damage. So he piles in, whacks a huge, it's now only on 3 hit points. Where Max is waxing a huge wodge of hit points off of it as bits of wet seaweed go flying up into the air as he's standing in the middle, sort of pounding down, going, "Leave my bloody captain alone." He's got his, he's got the boxers thing, hasn't he? Which means there's something to do with unarmed combat. Hold on. Oh, hold on. It says here, it will never break. So Betty never breaks. Well, okay. I didn't read that. Too late. Tavern Boxer. 2d4. Ignore fumble. Maybe he would have done that. Okay. Next round, he's gonna drop Betty. I'm gonna drop Betty and I'm gonna use fists. But the only benefit of using Betty is it's -2 to attack with Betty. Well, let's see. All right. So With that, the the seaweed has been reduced to 3 hit points in 1 turn. So we are now going to roll its morale. And how you roll morale is you roll 2d6. If I roll greater than 9, it's demoralised, and then we'll see what happens. Demoralised, of course, because it's being hacked to death and it's going to die. 7. Nope. It's decided in its primitive seaweed brain that instead of running away, it's going to try and lash out, probably at Staines. So Staines, with his +2 agility, is going to attempt to dodge out of the way. He needs to roll 10s. 3. Missing. The seaweed does 3 points of damage coming off of his 6 temporary hit points, meaning he now has 3 temporary hit points left. And Staines is going to then attempt to smack it with his fists based on this dex roll, which might mean that Boudoir, I might instead reload my musket. Yeah, so Bates will reload. Bates will take 2 turns to reload. XO is going to reload. XO only takes this 1 turn to reload. Staines is left on his own. So what I'm going to do is, fists are flying, I'm going to lay into this little slimy thing. So he now needs to roll 12s instead of 10s because he doesn't get the -2 because he's not using Betty. He's going to just try and punch the hell out of it. Punch and rip and tear out of it. 15. Punching, ripping and tearing. He gets to do 2d4 damage. 4, killing it. And 5 points of damage. So he rips in a flurry of big muscular. He looks like Eddie Hall. I'll put a picture up there, Eddie Hall. He looks a bit like Eddie Hall, but probably a lot less smiley, because Eddie Hall, bless you Eddie, you're never going to see this, though I hashtag you just to see. Eddie Hall is both an intelligent looking and quite a cheerful looking man. I mean, no disrespect to you, Eddie. You can look like quite a fearful young chap, but you still have got quite a nice face to you. Very platonic thoughts here, Eddie. And so Staines is not quite like that, but also like that. Anyway, I digress. He's ripping the hell out of this seaweed. And so what they end up with is a D10's worth of bits of seaweed left. 6. So they have 6 bits of seaweed. Each one will heal D2 hit points. And Staines' temporary hit points fade off where all temporary hit points go. Don't ask me. I have always wondered what temporary hit points are. I guess he's done, I don't know, he's done a touch of steroids or growth hormone, or he's had a little bit of, he's had a little jolt, and he's had like a triple espresso all in one hit, and he feels like he's impervious and can take on the world. So, young Cotton Pete, I came round and I was smothered in bloody seaweed. I was like, lads, what have you been doing? You weren't like that weird fella on board ship, were you, that we used to know? You mean the one that turned into an undead zombie, Captain? Yes, that is what happened to him. You're quite right. Anyway, best not to talk about him. Moving on. So they're now going to have to attempt to navigate just using the compass. So they do have a compass, which I think gives them a +2, if I remember rightly. And he has his presence. And they're going to attempt to just navigate through for the rest of the day to go through the jungle and see what they go. Hopefully he rolls it. So +2. It's raining, so it's going to be hard. So they're going to need to roll what's the difficult test? I've got a table here. 16. So normal is 12. I think that's a cut down version. I think there's a fuller version in the book. Oh no, just the same thing. 12 and 18 is 9 possible. So let's make it 14. So that means he needs to roll 12s. 18. I using my innate navigational abilities, because I am totally and utterly on board and I know exactly what I'm doing, not just when stabbing. I then led the lads through the jungle. So he leads them through the jungle. They avoid various different problems and various different things. Getting through the jungle to camp up and spend the night camped. We'll give Captain Pete a new Devil's Luck roll. So he's got 2 + 1 for his feather, giving him 3. We've got a D4 rituals on his making people love him plus spirit, which is +1. So he's got 5 ritual casts that he can do this new day, and they've consumed some food. Waking up the next day, and they will attempt to use the broken compass again to navigate through. This time we will use some Devil's Luck to re-roll it if he fails. He needs to roll 12s. He's got a spirit of +1. Nat 20. All right, natural 20. We are going to say that the second half of this part, this scene, is them. So this is good because based on the time, we're actually going to be able to get some of the castling. I thought this was all going to be moving through the jungle. Another basically filler episode. So they swiftly go through. We see them moving at quite speed through the jungle. There's various blow darts, miss them. We have like just a quite little thingy montage scene. Blow darts missing them. Crocodiles going to eat them, and they step over on the crocodiles' heads. Some zombies come out and they pat them on the head and then just keep moving on. And they avoid all of these quite horrible disasters, like they get chased by zombies who are moving quite slowly, so they're oblivious as they're moving through the jungle. They walk on these logs to get over this area, like they're all sort of playing skipping across the logs. Come on, lads, let's have a bit of a game. As the zombies step into, not on the logs, and sink down into sort of quicksand and are consumed by some carnivorous plant things. You see bits of bones get spat out of the quicksand. As they come to the edge of the craggy rock face that houses Skeleton Point. Let's see, where's that other picture? Because that's a better picture. Here. So they come to the edge here across this rope bridge. Is it called a rope bridge? Yeah, they are called rope bridges, aren't they? This rope bridge that they have to cross in a very Indiana Jones style way. As the jungle clears out, and there's just a bit of a rough clearing as they come through. Now, we will roll a d6, 1 to 3, it's nighttime. 4, 5, 6 is daytime. 1, it's nighttime. Okay, so they've come out of the jungle, it's the evening, and they're pitched over here, and it's a bit rocky, and they can see various, so this is a distance, that's like a good, oh, I don't know, what's the night, 45 minutes. It'll take them about 45 minutes to cross that rope bridge, so it's quite a distance across, and they can look across and they see some lights flickering in the windows. This is a ship that seems to be precariously perched on the edge of part of the parapets, and there's various things around here, and they can't quite make out what it is. Captain Pete, I got out my old spyglass because I thought, I shall use my abilities and I shall use the old noggin, and I had a quick stare, but it's too misty to really make out anything. But it looks terrifying. This is the description. So this is the bit that I was going to go through with you. So whilst chatting to Mandy, I began reading Skeleton Point, but only the first few bits that they would encounter. I haven't read the rest of it. I briefly read the encounter tables, and I've read most of it. So I, as the DM hat, putting my DM hat on, I know what to expect. So there'll be tomorrow. I'm going to release a video which is some 3 points, like little tidbits, 3 points to solo role playing. I've been asked, so 3 points. One of them, not to give it away, because go watch it, it's only about 10 minutes, is going to be use a DM hat. You don't actually get a DM hat, though I did used to wear a hat because I was a bit, anyway. So I didn't want to blind you with the reflection off my forehead. So I know what happens. Now, at night time, when they're staring across, they see, it through the telescope, they can see, basically, they see mist rising, it's dark, it looks ominous, there's a sheen across all the stonework, because it looks like it's been soaked in the sea for ages. There's basically, I'm going to make him make a bit of a spirit roll. Otherwise, it's terrifying. So he's got a hit a 12 11, so it's exactly on 12. Exactly on 12. He holds himself together, but he's like, lads, Captain, did I hear you make a sound from your posterior area? No, you did not. I am not at all afraid, but what I am saying now is I am not going over there tonight. I say we camp up here. So they start a little campfire and they'll spend the night camped. They all are going to need to make spirit checks. This isn't here, but I just decided, otherwise they're going to get bad dreams tonight. 12, so Captain Pete. Captain Pete has nightmares. XO has nightmares. I'm going to do Stains. I'm going to leave Bates last. Because I think it'll be funny if Bates wakes up and goes, I don't know what you are talking about. I had a lovely sleep. Yep, Stains has nightmares. Young Bates. Lovely! So that night, they all wake up in the morning and go, I had a bloody awful night's sleep. So did I. I dreamt about all sorts of stuff. Now, I don't know about any of you lot, but I dreamt my wife came looking for me. Isn't she dead, XO? I know. It were quite terrifying. I don't know about boudoir. I don't know about you lot, but I had a lovely night's sleep. It were real comfy. The patch of ground that I picked to sleep on, it was nice and fluffy. I felt like a little cloud had rubbed over me. Oh, shut up, lad. So they wake up in the morning, they eat their dried rations, and they stare across at Skeleton Point, ready to be absolutely terrified by what they see. And instead, what they can clearly see across the rope bridge, which is looking really quite sturdy and quite well constructed, is a quaint little castle. It's sunlit, the sun casts down across it. They can clearly see that the ship is perched on the side, but it looks really in good. Could you see it there? It looks in quite nice condition. It's quite nice wood. All the brickwork looks quite well pointed and well looked after. It looks quite peaceful and picturesque, in fact. And everything looks quite nicely laid out. It looks quite welcoming, and it looks really quite nice. Do you know, I don't know what we were worried about. That looks quite good. So they're all going to have to try and get their way over. I'm going to make them all make an agility roll. If they fail the agility roll, instead of toppling down into their deaths, I'll just make them take a little bit of damage. Just a little bit of damage. Not too much damage, just a little bit of damage. Because I don't want to kill them. But I don't want them to get over scot-free. So they'll need to make... We can say it's easy. What's an easy one? Easy says it's 6. All right, we'll make them make 6s. +2 agility for Captain Pete. Easy peasy. XO 0, natural 20. XO skips over. Do you know, I'm in peculiarly good spirits for someone who had a dream about his missus. And then we've got Young Bates, who's got +3 agility. Young Bates is the best one out of them. It really is following the Captain Pugwash style of cabin boys. Captain Pugwash with the cabin boy, which I can't remember his name. I think allegedly it was Master Bates. Although I did look something up which said that isn't true. And neither is Seaman Staines apparently. And young Staines gets over, and I made it over, and I can be, even if I do admit to it myself, a bit of a lumbering bulk. Not you, Eddie Hall. You're not lumbering at all. And if you ever meet me, you're a great lad. Lovely lad. So they get across to the other side. And so what time? All right, yeah, we'll enter the castle, and then we can do... I know what we'll do, because I read the first couple of bits. So reaching the front of the castle, what they can see is it does look quite idyllic in the daytime. And what we will do is we're going to keep track of time, and each element that they go through or spend any particular time at, we will tick off across. And we're going to say that there are 2, I think we did this for the Exploring the Jungle. There are 2 elements to the morning, 2 elements to the afternoon, and then it's nighttime. So we'll say them crossing over and starting to have a look and getting ready is one of the elements in the morning. And so they've got to the front of the fortress. So it is a seaside fortress, and it looks like it's over a century old. So it's that would be 100 years. I went to school. I do. And so what they see in front of them is portcullis, and beyond the portcullis they can see a little courtyard, which would allow them to then go into. They can see some main doors, which would then go into the fortress proper. Now, the portcullis doors have got several spikes, and there are skeletons and corpses impaled on all the spikes across the top and across the portcullis itself. It says here, one skeleton has random loot, end papers. What's end papers? Oh, it means the random loot that's in the book at the beginning, at the end of the book. I think it means it. I think it means the loot in its pockets. Make a random loot on the pockets roll. Okay. So going through, so all of these bodies and skeletons, some are clothed, obviously, because they don't have their loot. Some, and they're all accessible on the ground. And so there's just these spikes all around the place. Do you know, that's a bit disconcerting, if you ask me, because it looks quite a lovely place. In fact, I would imagine that anyone would want to live here, apart from the skeletons and the bodies. That, I think, you could do without on average. And so they start to move through. Now, what you and I know, because it says here in red, at night they come alive, which you'd expect really based on what the description was. So they start to move through, and I'm going to give them a... we could get the... No, we won't use the GM emulator because my phone's on charge. We'll just use a dice roll. Give them a presence roll. Spirit roll. Captain's going to make a spirit roll. Needs to do a 12. No, 11. So he's got +1 spirit, so that's an 11. So he fails to think about searching some of the bodies, mainly because he's going, let's just get through here, lads, shall we? We'll get through and we'll go have a look at the door. So they'll slowly sort of pick their way across this foyer. They might have a look at some of them, like give them a bit of a prod, but they're not going to search any bodies to actually find any loot or any treasure. And they're going to get, I mean, if you think that is unrealistic, I would agree with you. I would think actually, I'm going to flip that. Realistically, between you and me, I think any player of any role-playing game under the sun, as soon as you turn around and say, there are some bodies, they say, oh, search the bodies. You go, well, no, they're all like covered in pestilous disease. Oh, I'll put gloves on, search the bodies. No, they really stink. I'll put a peg on my nose, search the bodies. But they're in mud. I don't care. I'm searching the bodies. They all will search the bodies, hands down. So we'll let them search the bodies. We will let them search the bodies, but we're going to give them a chance of, we'll give them a agility chance that they search the right body. 14s, he's got +2. 2, 4, so they search bodies. They go around searching a few of the bodies, but it just so happens that the one that they need to search is a bit high up on a wall, on a spike, with a grotesque sort of, oh God, look on its face, as though it really shouldn't have made these life choices. Maybe it should have chose differently. You know, could have been a cobbler, fixing shoes, helping people, good for society. Instead, he decided to go and steal someone's doubloons and he got caught and stuck on a spike. Life choices. So they approach the foyer and there's these big open doors which are they? Hold on. I think it's open. I think the doors are open. So the big open doors, the doors are open, leading forwards. Maybe there aren't even doors and I've just misread this. Leading into a foyer to the actual fortress as a whole. Now, as they look into the foyer, it looks plush. It looks, the word that they use here is opulent. There is old furniture, which is incredibly well crafted. Though it's all covered in a layer of dust, it looks immaculate. They don't notice it. There are footprints. Let's see, go on. Bates might notice. Bates notices. Boudoir? Captain, I think there's been footsteps. Someone's been walking through here, Captain. Look. So they'll all sort of go over and they're going to do a bit of tracking. I think, let's go. Exo. Exo is the one who I reckon would be tracking. Presence. He feels like someone who could track. No. Do you know, I haven't got a clue. I have not got a clue. Staines has been mysteriously doing quite well for himself just recently. Let's see if Staines can make a... No. I don't know either. And we'll just give Captain Pete one last go. Alright, it feels like I'm pushing it a bit. Do you know, they look like a young lass's footprints, they do. Which makes sense, doesn't it? And so the foyer is, as I said, it's opulent. Now what we've got leading out here, there's a pair of double door staircases, which seems to lead us up a bit in front of them. Then you got over to one side, there's a crooked staircase that seems to go up a lot further. And on the left-hand side, there's a passageway that seems to lead out somewhere that they don't know where it goes. And of course, you've got the portcullis, which is behind them. I did misread this. There is no double doors. It's the portcullis, which is open and rusted in place. But on the side of this foyer, overbearing everything and looking quite new place there is a massive, so turn to your left, wherever you are, whatever the size of that wall is, that's how big this painting is. It is gigantic and it is immaculately, beautifully done, stormy mountain range landscape of the most beautiful rough seas and a mountainscape in the back, and you can see the exquisite trees, and the sky is all different shades of blues and blacks. If I've got any photos of any of the paintings that we saw in the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford, it's like there was one of those which that this now evokes. It's the most gorgeous, massive painting, and it stands across, and it looks relatively new. It's almost haunting in its beauty. And none of them think to notice that in the corner is a little signature saying, let's give them one more roll. No, saying Veronica. But what they do think is, do you know, I reckon we could get some cash for that. Which means if they take this, which is I think they're going to take this, they are going to annoy the living or the unliving heck out of the Baron by nicking one of Veronica's paintings, because the Baron likes Veronica's paintings. So they are going to attempt to, but Captain, I don't know if we should take a painting. Of course we're taking a painting. Look at it, we can fetch a right penny for that, even without the frame. Now, lads, how do you take a painting off without damaging it? That'll do. Boudoir. Now, I reckon what we need to do is we take it off, pop it out, and then see if we can remove it from the back. I mean, not that I've ever done that, but I hear it works. What have you been up to, lad? You're not even that old, are you? So they'll take the picture off, they'll lay it down on the ground in amongst all the dust, and what they're going to do is they're going to try and unpick all of the tacks which are tacking the canvas to the frame, so then they can roll it up and have it away. They'll stick it in their pockets. Now to do that, we are going to have it being an agility check, and I think Bert, I tell you what, Captain, I can do that for you if you like. I'm quite good at this. Let's see what he rolls. So he's got a +3. So that would come out as an 11. That's not great. So the captain is going to use one of his devil's luck to turn around and say, don't do it like that, lad. You're going to bloody ruin it. And then he needs to re-roll it. 5. It's even worse. Get out the way. It'll burn another one of his devil's luck. And now the captain, so Bates can't try this anymore, and the captain will try. The captain's only got +2. 10. All right, so they're going to tear the painting whilst attempting to do it. He won't burn again, so they've got a torn, which is going to make the Baron even more angry, painting. Now it says here that the painting is worth 500 silver, so I'm going to say it's worth 300 silver because it's torn. And so they've rolled up this painting. That will consume a chunk of time in the afternoon. They've had a bit of a snack whilst they're doing it. And now they're going to stand in the foyer and go, right then lads, where to now? We can go up those stairs, up that crookedy stairwell, or through that passage that way. What do you reckon? Well, I reckon, and that's where we'll end. We will end at that point. Thank you very much for watching all the way through to this point. If you're a subscriber, thank you very much for subscribing. If you're not a subscriber, please can you subscribe. Thank you very much to the members. And next session, we will rejoin the crew and find out where they went. We'll randomly roll, or I'll get my phone off charge and we'll use the GM emulator. And we'll decide where they go, exploring the rest of Skeleton Point. What I will do in the interim is I will read the 3 bits that refers to and see what happens next, so as I don't miss any encounters. We will also remember that there is a random encounter table for day and night, and at every midday bit, so I will put a note, roll random encounter, because we should do one at the midday point at each bit, or that's what you do in Mouse Ritter anyway. Look forward to it. See you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.